He wants more than the one here tonight.
Only 7 players in the Big 12, wire to wire, staying put as Darius has put in the work. Fans gave him a thunderous ovation when he was honored. So ball is in play. Oklahoma State getting after it here defensively and attacking the rim. Comes off, and here is Keyshawn Hall. And we got a player down underneath the bucket there for Oklahoma State. There you take a look at the starting 5 for the Cowboys. And we'll check here on Robert Jennings, who was a little slow getting up.
Checking in for Oklahoma State, number 0,
So Steve Lutz, Johnny Dawkins, 2 outstanding head coaches. There's the starters for UCF. Debo Coleman honored tonight before the game. Tyler Hendricks gets the nod. Mustafa Cham needs 1 block to surpass Taco Fall in freshman blocks. That's quite an accomplishment.
Absolutely significant. I mean, this is a guy who has not only been one of the best freshman shot blockers in the Big 12. I mean, he's been the best shot blocker in the entire league. Tremendous timing, outstanding length, a 7'2" reclassified freshman. The future ahead of Mustafa Chum goes without saying. It's extremely bright.
So it's Keyshawn Hall, the Big 12's leading scorer, trying to get off to the fast start. Comes off the rim, and here's Jamyron Keller, sophomore out of St. Matthews, South Carolina. Oklahoma State comes in just under 500, BJ. They were leading Baylor late on Saturday in Texas, ended up losing by 10.
Yeah, we know how difficult it is to win down in Waco, but Oklahoma State is a team that's picked up some quality wins this year. Knocked off Iowa State in a game just under a couple weeks ago and ran up over 100 on the Knights earlier this year.
Darius Johnson off to the fast start. His first 3 goes down.
Yeah, on senior night, you play free. You try not to play tight. You just want to go out there and leave it all out on the floor.
Right back at you, Bryce Thompson, one of the bright spots this year for the Cowboys. Keller will fire away. Certainly has the range. He's a tough physical guard. He can shoot as well.
Yeah, I mean, a guy who struggled a little bit from behind the line in conference play, only 29%. But again, this Oklahoma State team finds confidence against the UCF Knights. Again, we mentioned it, over 100 down in Stillwater when these teams matched up earlier this season.
Arturo Dean, a little bit short, impeded that time by Cham. Usman tries to follow it back up, and Abu Usman draws contact, and he will shoot 2.
And Tyler Hendricks has been a bright spot as of late for the Knights right there. Just a little screen dribble handoff action, and it's a great feeling for a guy like Darius Johnson to get on the board early on your senior night, right? You don't have to worry about getting those points the rest of the game. Now he can just go out and play his game. But we saw Oklahoma State get on the offensive glass there. That's a place that UCF has been susceptible throughout the season, especially in the back half of conference play. Steve Lutz's group got to make sure to get on the glass.
Yeah, really wants this team to finish strong. Felt like he had the right group going into the year.
Yeah.
But the reality is short timers all across the board in college basketball, and just the Cowboys have struggled at times to come together this year.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when Coach Lutz took the job, it was later on in the transfer portal. He couldn't really get in there and get some of the guys that, you know, we would say were first off the board, second off the board, right? He had to get maybe more of a mid-tier guy, as Bryce Thompson right there going to be called for the block. But Steve Lutz needs time to build up his program, has had success in his other previous stops, covered him during his time in Conference USA. I mean, this is the right guy for the job. It's just, in this day and age, man, we know how important it is to combine the portal with quality recruits that you can keep for a year or two so you can build a culture.
Cham hands off now to Johnson along the baseline. Darius, trapped down there, gets it out. Hendricks will fire away. Cham underneath. And we've got contact. 2 shots coming up.
Marcellus Avery, Darius Johnson. You saw freshmen come in and maybe they were immature off the court or they struggled in the classroom, and you watched them develop into, 22, 23-year-old young men by the time they graduated. That was the reason he got into coaching, and that's what he lives for. So still a special moment here today with the seniors, without a doubt.
So here's UCF in the man-to-man. Avery making his return to this court, as you stated, BJ. Interesting to Watch Chi Avery. We called him Marcellus last year, but he's 6'8", definitely a very talented player. You know he's pumped up for tonight.
Yeah, everybody who knows Marcellus calls him Chi. If you see Chi walking down the street, you call him Marcellus, you'll be like, what's going on? Who's that? A guy last year who was a spark off the bench for the Knights, has an ability to score, still has continued that down in Stillwater as a double-figure scorer, having his best year. The guy's a spark plug, man. Scored double figures the last time these two teams matched up, 10.6 boards. So returning to what has been one of his many college basketball homes, I'd expect him to have a big day.
Another three on the way, comes off from Hendricks. Yeah, Avery, a spark off the bench he has been, certainly for the Cowboys. Johnson fires once more. Lid on the bucket right now for UCF. Coleman trying to make something happen in traffic. Cowboys have it.
With a battle on the inside right there to the front court of the Cowboys. The Knights are one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. Got to make sure they keep those to a minimum.
Jamiron Keller, jump stop, nicely done. Feeding it off, Usman finishes.
And Jamiron Keller, he's a guy, when he gets it going early, he starts to feel good, right? He saw that three-pointer go through the hoop. Now he's setting up Abu Usman at the rim. This is what Oklahoma State needs to do, right? They need to get off to a good start here on the road so they can build some confidence like they did earlier this season in Stillwater.
UCF missed their last 5 until that right there. Keyshawn Hall flying through the air.
Well, we knew when he took off from the baseline, no resistance, there would be a takeoff, all right? Keyshawn Hall, one of the best drivers of the basketball in this league, a great slasher.
Stolen away, Chom now leading the break. The big man dishes it off here to Hendricks.
Hall has a mismatch inside, being defended by the smaller Jamiron Keller. Got to send a double at him.
Keyshawn spinning. Johnson, lost it.
Good job by Oklahoma State. Whenever Keyshawn Hall gets that ball in the mid-post area, the best thing you can do is send 2 at him, make him give it up.
Shot goes down. Brandon Newman off the bench. Senior guard. Hall.
Great hands.
Tried to spin. Oh, tremendous hands. Coleman, though, going to come up with it for UCF. So scramble for it here early. Keyshawn Hall for 3.
Never got his feet set right there, Drew. Was off balance, going backwards away from the rim. Keyshawn Hall is a very good shooter from deep. When he's on balance, he has time to get his feet set.
2-point lead here for the Cowboys. A little more than 5 minutes gone. Hendricks. Somebody's open, and we got a traveling called. Hendricks thought he kept his pivot foot down.
Well, we may not be at MCO at Orlando International Airport, but he's clear for takeoff. Keyshawn Hall, the leading scorer in the Big 12, going up high, throwing it down hard. You got to do the best you can to say, look, let's take it one game at a time. It's a new season, and let's see what we can do. March is meant for magic, right? Let's make some magic.
Yeah, without question. Oklahoma State, this team has not won 2 games in a row since December. They've been kind of an oddity in conference play. And get this, they have not won a Big 12 game, BJ, on the road.
Yeah, and that's the challenge in this league, right? You have got to be able to pick up a few good road wins. You want to protect home court, but the best teams in this league find ways to pull out those close battles in enemy territory.
Avery, wheeling and dealing, top of the key now. This one fired, and 2 for 2 is Brandon Newman, the senior and former Purdue Boilermaker.
And again, March is meant for magic. Brandon Newman has not been a good shooter from outside throughout the season, but the one thing you can count on against UCF, and this is a fact of how they've been this season, you can find good looks on the offensive end, right? There's been teams that were not good offensive teams coming in that have found good looks offensively. If you move the ball, attack the paint, drive and kick, you'll get what you want on the offensive end.
So ball goes out of bounds. It'll stay with the Knights. So far, Oklahoma State 3 of 4 from beyond three-point land. Avery making his return here tonight.
When all 3 looks were good looks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't challenge threes, weren't heavy contests. Those are threes that Division I basketball players will make, regardless of the percentage.
Keyshawn Hall picks one up, easy one there to make it a 12-9 game. Light pressure here applied by the Knights. course, also we talk about seedings and everything. You're also sort of playing for next year this time of year. A lot of futures uncertain with so much transferring and the portal and all that figuring. You want your best play on tape.
100%, Drew. You bring up a good point. As much as team success should matter to all these guys, at this point, a lot of these guys have to have an individual pride in their play, right? The performance you put on the floor and the tape you put out there is so crucial to what your opportunities look like moving forward down the line.
Ball again stripped away. Here come the Cowboys again. Open.
Pass.
Keller working it inside.
Avery's got the mismatch. Got to take advantage of the smaller Mahowski.
Backs him in, and here they will give him the bucket.
That 6'8" frame, Marcellus Avery's very comfortable right here on the blocks. He's being defended by just a 6'2". Niels Mahowski's giving up about 50 pounds, 5 or 6 inches of height. Avery's a guy who doesn't use his strength and his body enough. Sometimes you think he forgets that he's 6'8".
Ball taken away, and it's another bucket for Oklahoma State as Avery finishes. So keynote tonight also, a little banged up in the backcourt for UCF. Mikey Williams not playing here tonight. That's going to put extra pressure on the backcourt.
Yeah, Darius Johnson most likely will have to go nearly 40 minutes in this game as no foul call on the drive. And this is where Oklahoma State had success in their last matchup, getting out in transition, pushing the pedal, putting it to the metal.
Hall, little fancy footwork time around his back. Also got to mention Jordan Ivory Curry, another player that is not in the lineup here tonight. So that's two big guns for UCF. There's both of them. Ivy Curry on the left, Williams on the right.
Yeah, and Jordan Ivy Curry, a guy who's been a double-figure scorer for the Knights all season long. They're going to miss his production in the backcourt. And then Mikey Williams, the extremely highly touted freshman, had been playing well as of late. Picked up a number of starts in February. Was starting to find a bit of his rhythm. So, you know, you hate it for a guy like him as a freshman just starting to find his way in college basketball, figuring out where he's going to be productive to now being relegated to the bench with injury. So you wish for a speedy recovery for him because he was just starting to find his footing.
Second one here for Keyshawn Hall, the Big 12's leading scorer. Comes up short. Oklahoma State, 10 of their 16 points have come off Knights turnovers.
And that was the success they had in Stillwater. They forced 20 Knights turnovers, which led to nearly 30 points off of those turnovers. Truly, that was the difference in the game.
This one kept alive. Fake this time. Brantley in the lane. Shot clock at 5. Fired up by Arturo Dean. In and out. And scramble for the loose ball. It'll belong to the team in white. So 16-10. UCF trying to find their footing here at home.
Group is doing to go up to Ames, Iowa, playing against a fully healthy, fully loaded Iowa State roster and pulling off that win. It was an overtime victory, but our producer, Greg Pike, and I talked about it. They controlled that game for about 30 minutes of basketball. They just let their foot off the gas. So BYU, with their ability to get downhill and shoot the basketball from deep, led by the freshman Igor Demen, they're going to be tough to deal with.
So Keyshawn Hall trying to be active as much as possible early here. Misfires. Hendricks does as well. And here's Oklahoma State again. Another three by Keller. Too strong. Mahowski with the board. So Nils Mahowski going to have to provide some good minutes tonight for the home squad. Three-pointer was up and good by Chom. Kip Kissinger blew the whistle that time.
Yeah. At the same time as the shot was released, it looked like it must have been a foul called on Oklahoma State.
And they will count the bucket.
Yeah.
As a 3-3 for Mustafa John, it counts.
Previous play is under review.
See Darius Johnson right here getting tied up at the bottom, dealing with Jamyron Keller. Just an off-ball foul. Since the shot is released at the same time as the foul, the shot counts. See right here in the middle of your screen right there, just holding him up, you know. Just provide a little resistance out there. Obviously a no-no from Mr. Keller.
So count the three. There is a chance UCF could be awarded the ball here as well. Late here in the season, Knights had back-to-back wins, one over Utah, the other over Kansas State. Then ran into TCU, 89-78. They fall in Texas. BJ, you had an opportunity to call that game on Saturday.
Yeah, TCU, Jamie Dixon's group played just how you would expect a Jamie Dixon group to play.
By rule, the foul occurred on 5 black before the foul shot attempted. No bucket, UCF ball on the sideline.
See our officials, Skip Kissinger, Don Daly, James Breeding, and BJ, explain the timing of that call.
Yeah, so essentially, the shot was attempted and made after the foul actually occurred. So it's not when, so see, if you're gonna see the foul in the middle, the foul's occurring right now on Jamiron Keller. Then Mustafa Chum releases the basketball. So even though the foul was called at the same time as the shot, the foul was committed prior to the shot, takes points off the board, Knights ball on the side.
And it actually ends up being a good foul. If you're Oklahoma State, you wipe that 3 off. So Johnson now, you see the man-to-man defense by the Cowboys. Good help defense as well. Hendricks has misfired a couple times. Johnson now goes strong. Mahosky, can he knock one home?
And that's what he brings, right? He brings that ability to stretch the floor, provide some outside shooting that the Knights don't always get, right? Jordan Ivy Curry is a good shooter, but he's more of an off-the-bounce guy. Nils Mahosky is one of the few just spot-up, stand-still, catch-and-shoot guys that the Knights have on this roster.
Connor Dow in the game, number 13 here for the Cowboys. Brantley, pull-up. That's off. Chom brings down the rebound, and now it's Johnson. Darius Johnson for 3. Yes. So back-to-back threes. We're tied at 16.
If you don't get matched up early in transition, this Knights group loves to score in early offense situations, whether it's a primary fast break or the secondary fast break. They want to score early in the shot clock. That's why they play at one of the highest paces of anybody in the Big 12. You see right here, communications has got to be key. Right here, Jamiron Keller does not get matched up with his guy, okay, and you leave a guy like Darius Johnson open, a near 40% three-point shooter, it's gonna make you pay.
That three-pointer by Darius Johnson ties him with Mike O'Donnell, 5th all-time on the UCF three-point shooting list.
Well, we know Mike O'Donnell could knock him down from deep, right? Mike could get that puppy sick, get those feet square, hold his follow-through. Mike was knocking it down.
Keyshawn Hall with a dunk and 10. So it's the block by Chom leading to the dunk by Hall, and the Knights are running. Foul on the other end. It's going hard was Newman.
See right here, great interior defense right here. Mustafa Chum with the block to pass my former teammate and Knight legend Taco Fall. And we usually talk about turnovers leading to offense. Well, this time, the Mustafa Chum block to make him the all-time UCF freshman leader in that category was able to lead to a Knights bucket.
So Newman to the line. Hot start for this Cowboy. And that number, 71 blocks officially now by Chom, breaking Taco Fall's mark of 70. A little history there. We're going to be reminiscing a little bit throughout the night on some Knights basketball history. It is senior night if you're just joining us. Drew Felios, BJ Taylor tied at 18. Oklahoma State looking for their first Big 12 road victory. Will it come here tonight? The Knights roster a little bit depleted,
yes.
Missing Mikey Williams and Jordan Ivy Curry.
And none more than right now, right? You have Nils Mahosky and Dior Johnson handling the point guard duties, but this has been the expansion of Mustafa's Chum game, the ability to knock down shots, not only to the 15-foot area, but extending past the three-point line in conference play.
And BJ, I'm not just saying that he likes to step out and take that. That is a silky, smooth-looking jumper from the baseline.
He gets great arc on it for a guy at that height. A lot of times you see taller guys shoot the ball very flat because their release point is so high. Not Mustafa Chum. He has a great touch.
Top of the key now, Usman. Comes up a little short. Chom quickly back down the court. Reward the big man. Little two-man game now. Lob it up. Chom turning and scoring. It's going to be that kind of game. Chom, Hall, and Johnson taking over. Knights by 4.
Playing through the front court when Darius Johnson is out. It's not only good basketball, but it's smart basketball from this UCF group, right? A little full court pressure turns into half court pressure. Dior Johnson has no problem dealing with it. And then look how you guys feet up underneath him, right? At 7'2", to get that rhythm and that balance, great job. And then a nice job of Keyshawn Hall of finding the big fella for the nice look inside the painted area. Mustafa Chum's development has been absolutely sensational from his first day on campus as a Knight to now facing the adversity he has faced being a part of this team as a freshman. It's not easy to continue to play good basketball this late in the season. He continues to show his maturity, and he continues to show what will attract a lot of people at the next level is his professionalism, right? You never see his demeanor change. You never see him getting emotional. He's the same guy day in and day out. That bodes extremely well for his future.
I know Knights fans want to see him back here next year, of course. What do you think he's got to do to take his game even to the next level? How far can it go, BJ?
You know, interesting enough, he has to become a better defensive rebounder, right? He only averages about 6 rebounds a game, and nearly half of those are offensive rebounds. So for a guy at his position, he's got to become a better defensive rebounder, and he has to become a little bit more of a lob threat at the rim when guys are driving downhill. But other than that, he has the defensive end of the game pretty well figured out.
Brandon Newman, right now he's got that three-point line figured out. He's 3 for 3 from beyond the arc.
Playing with a lot of confidence, right? He's coming off of those what we call shake-ups where a guy just rotates around the three-point line for a look. He's coming off those with a lot of confidence, ready to take and make his shot.
Hendricks, spin off. Dior Johnson able to pick this one up. Chom now surveying the court. Benny Williams. Mahosky, oh, that one's from way deep. And we've got a timeout on the floor. So it's a one-point game, and how about Brandon Newman?
Real nice set right here from Steve Lutz. Come off this ball screen, get a shake-up action. Bang! Brandon Newman just starts the game. The defensive end is where he has shined all season long, but the offensive end is where his game continues to grow. You see him right here go up and snag a 50-50 ball like he's Randy Moss up top, comes down with it, light on his feet, able to finish with a soft touch around the rim. That second block of the night made him the all-time leading shot blocker, for freshmen in UCF history, which is no small feat when that means you overtook a 7'6" center in Taco Fall. Makes it a little bit more special, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Remember, too, Mustafa nearly had a triple-double last week when we were here.
And that triple-double was with what, Drew? Points, rebounds, and
blocks.
You don't see that every day.
Right now, UCF controlling the paint. J.J. Taylor making things happen in there. Here's Benny Williams going to the goal.
And see, that's where Williams has to be stronger with that ball. At 6'10" and the athleticism he has, you got to make a play like that. You got to complete a play like that around the rim if you're the Syracuse transfer. Nice job of Oklahoma State pushing it back the other way. The Knights are not good at transition defense, right? As good as they are coming at you on the offensive end on the fast break, they are just as poor as getting back and setting up their transition defense. Stopping the ball, clogging driving lanes, setting up a wall. Oklahoma State can have their way in those sequences.
So it's Chi Avery at the line. Steve Lutz looking on. Yeah, that's what makes UCF such a different team this year. Just an oddity from what they have been in the past. Usually so good defensively. Almost like that's completely been flipped here in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a different roster, right? I mean, when Jordan Ivy-Kerr was playing, he's a smaller guard, more of a scorer. Mustafa Chum, again, a freshman center, great at blocking shots, but it's hard to ask a freshman to be the centerpiece of your defense for 30 minutes a night in Big 12 play. It's just a different bit of personnel. They had 2 twin towers inside last year, and Ibrahima Diallo and Omar Payne in their front court, and then Shamari Allen, who's one of the best perimeter defenders in all of the Big 12. So it's just a different group.
Johnson Goes up against 3 that time, and it'll stay with UCF with 4 seconds.
We've seen that twice now from Oklahoma State. They do a really great job of swarming the driver, right? We saw it with Benny Williams, that time with Darius Johnson. When you get in the painted area, you got to look to make a play for your teammates at times if they're going to send 2.
Hall's going to power it right up. Couldn't get it, and a collision there. He goes nearly head-to-head with Benny Williams. So a little bit of friendly fire that time. And now it's Dean. Avery. Good help that time. Williams came over. Whipping inside. Good way to attack that zone. That's Patrick Sumnick, the 6'8" senior forward.
Really nice patience and a good job of having the discipline to not settle for a contested look for the outside. Go inside to Patrick Sumnick, the transfer from West Virginia, get a good look at the rim.
Good ball movement. Oh, that last pass though just got away from Keyshawn Hall. One more look at the friendly fire. Watch this.
As Keyshawn Hall goes up, you see Keyshawn go after the ball and then just connects like Tyson and Holyfield in the 90s with Benny Williams across the face. Oh, man. That's when you go back to the bench and be like, dog, I love when you hustle, but, let's inflict the pain on the other team.
Arturo Dean. Chum's got to come out here. Lob it up inside. Sumnick tried to put it up. J.J. Taylor met him at the rim.
It's getting more and more difficult to score with this guy around the rim. I mean, look where he was, though, at the start of this play. He was defending the Oklahoma State player who made the pass, all right? And then he works his way back down to the paint. There's unbelievable effort to block the shots at the level he does, right? It takes timing, it takes skill, it takes length. It also takes outstanding effort. Yes. Take a look at this, Drew. Look at this. Off the ball screen, ready, up, engaged. Has Arturo Dean under control, right? Says, nope, not gonna give you a look. This is something that a guard can take advantage of. And watch him sprint back to the paint and make a play on Patrick Sumnick at the rim. That is the thing that you can't teach, right? You can teach a guy, hey, you should be in this position, you can be here. This will put you in a position to make a play. You can't teach the basketball instincts and the heart and the hustle that Mustafa Chum plays with possession in, possession out.
Coming up on 5 minutes, 25-22. Remember, these two teams, one of them got to 100 the last time they met. Oklahoma State put up 104 to the Knights 95. So well under that thus far. Hendricks knocking it away.
5 double-figure scores for Oklahoma State in that game. Keyshawn Hall for the Knights ran off one of his better games with 34 points. Tough shot.
That's going to be 3 free throws coming up, though, for Darius.
Just an undisciplined play right here. Yeah, from Marcellus Avery, just undisciplined in this scenario. You see right here, this is a tough shot. If he makes this shot, you let him have it. Take into account as well, Marcellus Avery, 6'8" with nearly a 7-foot wingspan. He could have got a good contest up on that shot from the position he was in, but a little overzealous going against his former team, right? You know he wants to get that highlight block against his former point guard. Those are the little things, Drew, right, that the really, really good teams don't do, right? Houston doesn't make those plays. Iowa State doesn't consistently make those plays. BYU down the stretch as of late, they don't commit those sort of fouls, right? It's so close at this level of basketball, right? You can't give away free points.
Darius Johnson had that game winner in that Utah game, one of the best moments of his season. And gets them all to go here, so we are tied at 25 here, coming up on 5 to play.
And see that? Those free throws changed the whole complexion of this game. Oklahoma State had the momentum. They were starting to make a run. And then now the momentum has swung back to UCF's side, and we have a tie game.
Arturo Dean, he's got the green light. Line drive 3, and it's boarded.
And that's a good look from Dean. If Darius Johnson's going to go under those ball screens, he's got to be ready to take those shots.
Mahosky, speaking of green light, he certainly has it here tonight. tried to do the up and under. He'll hit the deck hard, but the crowd loving the effort.
You're going to see it's a missed shot from Niels Mahowski. Gets his own offensive rebound, but watch Khalil Brantley. He does not get back into this play. You can't tell, but he starts working his way towards half court. That is what opens up the opportunity for Mahowski to even come up with the offensive board, right? Khalil Brantley in that situation, he has to contest, 2 feet, hit the hardwood, and get back in the play. There's a drill you do all the time. Coaches, I'm sure Steve Lutz does the drill. Every coach I ever played for did the drill. You fly by the three-point shooter, you immediately sprint back into the play because it's a habit for guys to start running towards half court before your team has secured the defensive rebound.
So a couple for Mahowski, again out of Berlin, Germany, international player for UCF. Knights by 2. Several lead changes here in this first half. Sumnick. Arturo Dean, little floater in the lane, goes down.
Really good action right there. A nice little baseline cut and then allowed Arturo Dean to come off that handoff and get to a nice little 10-foot area.
Mahowski lost it. Dean now.
Good probe. Good basketball.
Oh, the former FIU star, Arturo Dean, high off the glass.
Really, really good when he can get in that paint and just survey and navigate his options, right? And he's really good with both hands making those floaters. It's a good job from Dean. He's got to play in the paint more.
J.J. Taylor tried to kick it out. Hendricks started coming to the basket. Lots of miscommunications you're seeing on the court for the Knights. Oklahoma State, meanwhile, riding Arturo Dean, the steals leader in the Big 12, getting after it. Cowboys lead by a deuce.
I mentioned when they were both just high schoolers, so for this moment to come, it's come faster than Kelvin Johnson would have liked, but he's also at the same time extremely proud of Darius Johnson and his other brother Xavier Johnson for both graduating from college and having very successful college basketball careers.
And Darius, the godson of Knights head coach Johnny Dawkins.
Great move.
Great tie there, and that is an awesome move. Abu Usman, he is an impressive post guy. When he sets those feet, it's good night.
Exactly. I mean, and you don't get a lot of double-figure front court scores in today's game, but Abu Usman's one of those guys, right? Did a nice job of using that left shoulder to create space.
J.J. Taylor from the corner. Knights are going to need it. Several guys going to have to step up without Ivy Curry and Mikey Williams in the lineup.
Yeah, Taylor, a guy who has not played much for the Knights as of late. But if he ever reaches, even scratches the surface of his potential at 6'8", 6'9", he has the ability to be a player.
Johnson's three-pointer was just off to the right. Here's Arturo Dean really pushing it up the floor. J.J. Taylor now does not have numbers for the home team. Oh, just threw it away.
Yeah, just a careless pass right there from Taylor.
Cowboys trying to get to the rim, and that's Brandon Newman, the lead scorer so far. With 11 points, he was fouled by Johnson.
And again, the turnovers keeping Oklahoma State in this game, right? He wanted to get that 3 off in transition, but then hesitancy, indecision leads to slow basketball, which leads to turnovers. Oklahoma State doing a nice job again, forcing Knight turnovers, turning defense into offense. 10 Knight turnovers on the day, already 14 points off of turns for the Cowboys.
So here's Brandon Newman at the line. Mentioned how he played at Purdue, also had a stint at Western Kentucky. But you got to love the ties and how a guy like Newman winds up playing for Steve Lutz. When Lutz was an assistant at Purdue, Brandon Newman was there. He was on the bench, was a role player. Lutz remembered him. The two later hooked up, and it's been a pretty good match here in Stillwater.
Absolutely. And Steve Lutz, we touched on it earlier, all right? It's tough in your first year in a Big 12 school to come in immediately and just hit the ground running and have the continued success he's had at his programs previously, right? That's just not how it works in today's age. But next year is the year where you have to look for Oklahoma State to make its move and to be an upper half team in the Big 12, right? Because if you finish in the top 8 in this league, what does that mean? A really strong chance to make the NCAA tournament.
You know, Lutz really told us what sets the Big 12 apart from other conferences. He did not imagine it would be this physical, BJ. That physicality certainly different from even conferences like the SEC.
Yeah, well, the SEC is a little more free-flowing. They like to get up and down. When you look at Alabama and the way Nate Oates has implemented their three-point shooting, he's big on analytics, so they like to get up and down, shoot threes. Mark Pope at Kentucky, formerly at BYU, they play a free-flowing game. In this league, you got to put your big boy pants on, all right? Houston sets the tone in terms of physicality and toughness. Nobody's going to out-tough them with physicality. And then TJ Otzelberger's group, nobody in college basketball has a higher forced turnover rate than the Iowa State Cyclone. So physicality is a major part of the Big 12 for sure.
Yeah, it took Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and Western Kentucky to the NCAA tournament, trying to do the same, but he's got his work cut out for him. And Stillwater, as Chum, little shove that time on Usman, gonna get whistled. Take a look what we got coming up Saturday on ESPN, Arizona and Kansas. Buckle up.
How much fun would that be down there in Kansas? Obviously not the year that Bill Self has been looking for. They're headed for the worst seed in the NCAA tournament in the Bill Self era, but whenever you got a scorer like Caleb Love coming in to town, going into Allen Fieldhouse on a senior day, that is gonna be absolutely electric.
See Brantley teeing it up for three, and it's a 5-point lead. So Khalil Brantley right now flying all over the court, having fun, formerly at LaSalle.
Almost ran into you over here, partner. I saw you starting to fold up, duck for cover, right? But absolutely, a terrific shot over there in the corner for Khalil Brantley, got his feet set. And then now it's funny how when a guy makes a shot, now they become more engaged defensively. Now they start making plays on other parts of the floor.
You know, you mentioned Bill Self. There was a time when he was rumored to maybe be interested in the job in Stillwater at Oklahoma State before Lutz, of course, came aboard.
Yeah, well, being an alum, great pass. There's Johnson to find Mustafa Chum at the rim. But what a lot of people don't realize is Bill Self is an alum of Oklahoma State, right? And whether you believe it or not, his words are he always spoke with the administration of Oklahoma State on head coach openings.
Sumnick able to clean up the mess, came right into his hands, right place, right time, and it's 38-33. 1 minute to play, 1 minute until the end of the half. Darius Johnson handling it. That one tipped again, active hands, the story here for the Cowboys. Chom from the outside. Oh, just left on the front of the rim by Hendricks. And Cowboys want to talk this over. They'll call timeout with 40.4 seconds left.
Really nice job. Darius Johnson beats the hedge of Marcellus Avery. That allows him to wrap around and find the big fella at the rim. All good guards learn to keep your dribble alive, and then it never hurts to be a little bit lucky. Patrick Sumnick being rewarded by another extra effort play from Khalil Brantley. Started to come alive here at the end of this first half, but we touched on it earlier and we're going to touch on it again. If you're UCF, you got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. The turnover differential, 10-3. Oklahoma State doing a really nice job of valuing the orange, while the Knights, once again, turnovers rearing its ugly head here in this first half.
Yeah, don't want to be double-digit turnovers still in the first half. Oklahoma State, their defense has been ferocious here, though. And the points off turnovers has been the big story in this game for the visiting side.
Yeah, and again, that was the difference in Stillwater, and we're going to keep harping on it because, you know, if it wasn't for the turnovers, you know, now you're taking probably 10 points off the board, or 16 points off the board if you want to be exact, for Oklahoma State. Nobody plays an entire game without turnovers, but that number, you want to give up under 10 points off turnovers in a game. Like the Knights have already given up 16.
Arturo Dean, little stop and pop is good. Got it over Dior Johnson. And Oklahoma State extending now. It's a 7-point game, 20 seconds. So Dior working 1v1. Khalil Brantley. Solid job for him off the bench here. Johnson will fire it. Oh, how about that throwdown? J.J. Taylor, hello. Off the miss, Taylor comes flying through the lane and tomahawks it in as 1 and 10 on the air.
Here we go. Should lead us into an exciting second half. The first 4 minutes of the second half are so crucial.
Bryce Thompson, he's been a little quiet for the Cowboys here thus far. Hendricks trying to get his hands on it, made a good defensive play from behind, and Darius Johnson has it. In fact, Bryce Thompson still scoreless for Oklahoma State, so that's a key storyline.
Yeah, and that can be good or bad, right? You can look at it and say he's having an off night. That continues. It's good for UCF. But if you're Oklahoma State, already a 5-point lead, no Bryce Thompson bucket as Darius Johnson uses that strong shoulder to create a little space. If you're Oklahoma State, you're saying, look, if Bryce gets going here in the second half, that will allow us to extend our lead even more.
Usman operating. Aaron passed that time, picked up Keller. Arturo Dean has played well, and here's a three going down for Jamyron Keller. His mother Kayla certainly proud of him. Read a good story on the Kellers, all the work that they put in to get Jamyron to this point. The Oklahoman, great publication out there in the Midwest. Little floater in the lane this time, comes off, and Coleman able to clear it.
Still a good look if you're Oklahoma State, right? Attacking early in transition. Such a good thing to do against this Knights team. It's just a little too deep there from Johnson.
Mustafa Cham can't hit the mid-range. So here's Keller once more. Knights have got to get back defensively. Arturo Dean operating against Cham. Usman. Right back up. Oh, Cham's going to get the goaltend. So credit Jennings the bucket. Second chances and third chances for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and it may seem as though Usman forced that shot up on the rim, but it's actually a really good play because he understood Mustafa Cham was out of the play as Cham gets called for the goaltend right there. The ball is already on the way down towards the cylinder. That is a goaltend. If you catch the shot on the way up, it's not a goaltend. It's a clean block. But whenever you get Mustafa Cham away from the hoop, if you're Oklahoma State, it should be either driving the basketball, posting the basketball near the painted area. You got to make something happen in the palm fronted area.
Try to get it downstairs to Cham. Keller comes away with it. Right now the Knights are struggling. Oklahoma State smelling a little bit of blood in the water here. Timeout UCF, and look at the points off turnovers continuing to increase.
Attack the palm fronted area if you're Oklahoma State. Why is it the palm fronted area? Because here at UCF, it's palm front, it's not the paint. Great job right here. Jamyron Keller gets all the way to the rim, finishes. Oklahoma State pulling away.
They lead. UCF just underway, second half. Senior night and flashback about 6 years. B.J. Taylor in his younger years being honored at half court. That was the first season of the Johnny Dawkins era and the last for B.J. Taylor here in Orlando.
It was the third season of the Johnny Dawkins era.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
But a great night with my teammates and my family and their families. To have my parents out there with me. Both Pam and Barry Taylor, Taco's fall mom. That was her first time seeing her son play a college basketball game in person. So just a tremendous a night for us. And more importantly than anything, I remember we won that game. We had a court storming, knocked off a highly ranked Cincinnati group. So as much as individual statistics matter, the wins are what you remember more than anything. Take that with you, Drew.
Outstanding. Love it. J.J. Taylor and UCF now going to work. Keyshawn Hall, they've got a lot of work to do here, trailing by double figures for the first time tonight. How about the crossover? Hall just trying to get loose. They've done a good job on him so far with Robert Jennings.
Robert Jennings has worked extremely hard to keep Keyshawn Hall out of the painted area. Now, the one thing you got to watch for with Hall is that he can a lot of times be a second half player, right? So you got to stay locked in on making sure he doesn't see driving lanes, he doesn't see gaps to attack the rim, because as this game starts to wane, he is going to become increasingly aggressive to get to the paint, get to the rim, and get to the free throw line.
Yeah, last time he took on Oklahoma State, 34 points for Keyshawn. So he is a marked man here tonight.
But he's been a marked man all season long. I mean, this guy, you know, even with everything that he has done statistically wise, teams have tried to scout different ways to take him away, and you got to give a lot of credit to the resiliency he's shown as a player, because it can be mentally challenging knowing you're the key guy and teams are trying to take you away, still being productive like he has.
Punch it inside again, Usman. Shot altered by the long arms of Cham.
Yeah, Usman just rushed that one a bit. He had an opportunity.
Off that time is Keyshawn. He'll go right back up, and he'll go to the stripe once more.
This is what we're talking about. You know, as the second half starts to move along, out of transition and in the half court, Keyshawn Hall really starts to put his foot on the gas.
So Keyshawn with 9 points tonight. We'll get 2. Did not realize you played 3 seasons for Johnny Dawkins. I thought it was just 1.
No,
DJ.
yeah. So the first season under Johnny Dawkins' era was an NIT Final Four run where we lost to a TCU-led Jamie Dixon group, which featured Desmond Bain, who's currently a member of the Memphis Grizzlies, a Kenrich Williams, who currently is on the New Orleans Pelicans, famously known for being the guy who LeBron James made the shot on to surpass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in total points. That's Kenrich Williams. And then our senior year was the year there was an NCAA tournament run to the round of 32. So I was fortunate to spend 3 years under Johnny Dawkins and learn so much, not only as a basketball player, but just how to be a good person in the community, right? Making things bigger than just yourself. He really holistically develops his players.
Good defense that time by UCF. As Bryce Thompson went up for the shot, Thompson has been held completely in check here thus far. Cham scrambling for it. And whistle's going to be blown here. Had a loose ball on the deck. Don Daly calls Cham.
You see right here, it's like Darius Johnson just loses the basketball. There's a lot of contact going towards the rim. I like the no call, though.
3 fouls right now on Johnson. He's the only one in somewhat of foul trouble. Keyshawn Hall comes away with it. Crowd oohs and ahs at the dribbling. Keyshawn, not very pretty that time, but it gets it done.
But this is, again, it's the aggression level that he starts to play with as the game moves on, right? We've seen already in the second half, in the first 4 minutes, he's much more determined and decisive in trying to get to the rim. He's not going to settle for the outside jump shot until he gets it going towards the basket.
Thompson looking for some real estate to work with. Keller with 3 to shoot. Got to put it up. Doesn't get the roll. And Keyshawn Hall back down here for the Knights. A little momentum on the UCF side.
So Oklahoma State's got to load up to the basketball. Don't show him gaps to get to the rim. See, it's a good defensive possession. Got to come down with the rebound.
How about Mahosky with the putback? It's an 8-0 run right now for the Knights after the timeout.
Nice job of forcing that Keyshawn Hall miss. He's personally probably going to look for an assist if you ask me.
So Keyshawn Hall responding with 6 points for UCF.
The leading scorer in the Big 12 is starting to come alive. Gets downhill, takes the bump, and uses the right. Analysts for getting this Knights offense going. It's a reason why he's scored in double figures in every conference game outside of one. It's his versatility, his ability to put the ball on the floor, as you see right here, and then finish through the bump, both with the left hand and his offhand, which is his right hand. And he's one of those guys, once he starts to make shots at the rim, or get to the free throw line. Then he starts to make shots from the outside. So if you're Oklahoma State now, the genie's out of the bottle.
Yeah.
And he's awoken. How can you put him back in the bottle, playing strong defense, turning that defense into offense, getting out and running like they did in the first half when they were having success?
Drew Felios, B.J. Taylor, coming up on 15 minutes left to go in the game. UCF and Oklahoma State seesaw battle all night long. Keyshawn Hall called for a 5-second violation, held it that time.
Yeah, and believe it or not, you had J.J. Taylor wide open at the rim. I mean, he was as open as one could get. The pressure, the Cowboy defense didn't allow him to see it, though.
Key wins for Oklahoma State this year. Big one over Arizona State. Then they took down Iowa State back on February 25th. If they can get a road win tonight, this would be another big one, I think. First time they've ever played on this court. Mahosky tries to get Hall. That's a dangerous pass.
Yep.
And it winds up another turnover, number 14.
Well, two things. One, it's a dangerous pass, but secondly, it's an unnecessary pass because the reward of completing that play is minimal. Now J.J. Taylor catches the ball 30 feet from the rim, a guy who's not a three-point threat. It's one of those plays that, you know, if you're Nils Mahosky as a sophomore this late in the season, you just can't make those sort of plays.
Right down the teeth of the defense, and that's Chi Avery, the former UCF player with the dunk.
Nice job faking the handoff. The C's parted for him. He finishes above the rim like a 6'8" forward should.
Darius Johnson steps out. Another three on the way. Rattles in.
And we're starting to see the two-headed monster for the Knights start to come alive. Darius Johnson.
Lob it up. Oh! Tried to one-hand it that time. J.J. Taylor would have looked pretty.
Yep.
Here's Arturo Dean the other way. Arturo Dean, the steals leader in the Big 12.
Offensive foul against Brandon Newman right there, just launches himself into Nils Mahosky.
Take one more look at the Avery dunk.
Yep, and again, this is smart basketball. You don't see this enough, right? These little fake handoff actions, Knights don't come together on a switch. It's a good play. One of the best teams I played against is we're gonna have an offensive foul called against Keyshawn Hall, slipping out of the screen. One of the best teams to fake handoffs, to fake those sort of actions was Villanova under Jay Wright. Villanova all the time, they would dribble at you, they would fake a handoff, and then they would go.
Just saw Keyshawn Hall get called for that foul as he comes back down the court, shaking his head. Johnny Dawkins right now pleading his case. So 3 fouls apiece for Johnson and Hall, the 2 UCF stars. 3 there for Jamiron Keller.
This is a seesaw battle if we've ever seen one, isn't it, Drew? I mean, a back and forth. As the Knights make a play, the Cowboys make a play. Right here, just a good job of Brantley keeping his pivot. And then you talk about the three-point numbers for Oklahoma State on the season, but 7 of 17 tonight, 41% from deep, and all their three-pointers have looked good.
Darius Johnson, strong take. He kind of shuffles the ball back there to Keller. A little bit of chirping going on right now on this court.
This is, you're just getting a little chippy, all right? A little competitive fumes in the air. Nothing wrong with that at all. We like it when these teams go out and when these teams compete. You just don't want it to go past the mark of becoming physical.
Now it's Avery.
It's a good mismatch for Avery. Yep, Newman needs to clear out.
Wants it on his former teammate here, Mahosky. Chom waiting for him. And Mustafa going to get called with a hack on the arm.
Right here, just get strong, physical, takes the bump, no problem. Ooh, big dog. Coming downhill at you is tough to deal with.
Benny Williams now comes in. Chom's going to have a seat here. So a couple fouls here on Chom. We'll take a break. Another 3 coming. This one off. Mahosky skying up. And we've got contact as Nils was fouled.
And again, though, another three-point attempt from Oklahoma State. that looked really, really good. I mean, these shots are right on line. I mean, you look at this. It's a good shot for Brandon Newman. That's right off back rim. Mahowski gets fouled by Usman up top.
So seen a lot of Nils Mahowski tonight doing whatever he can to contribute.
Yeah, but with the absence of Jordan Ivy Curry and Mikey Williams, he's been catapulted into the lineup to step up.
Darius tries to get in the lane. And one more foul.
Yeah, again, strong physicality. We're starting to get a little bit of trash talking like we mentioned, but Darius Johnson is getting away with a bit of a hook. All right, he's using that left arm to sort of move some of these defenders out of the way. Watch the left arm of Darius Johnson get up underneath Jamiron Keller right here, right? Really, that's an offensive foul, but it's so hard for officials to make that call because it happens so fast and it happens so quick.
When you're a veteran like Johnson, you know exactly how to use it in your favor.
Whatever you can do. All right, I mean, I knew guys that would twist shorts when they were trying to drive past a player, kind of poke guys in the stomach. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about other players that would use these tricks.
Is that what I'm feeling? Is that what I'm feeling during breaks here, or what?
It's like I'm a creature of habit. Okay, some things you can't let go.
I was trying to figure out where my notes went. No wonder. Oh, man. 52 all now. First time ever for Oklahoma State. Here in Orlando, they want to make the most of it. Usman uses that big body from the elbow. Nicely done. That's Bryce Thompson's first bucket tonight.
Yep, and let's see if that gets him going, right? Leading scorer for Oklahoma State. He's a really good player in that mid-range area. Let's see if that sparks him here down the stretch.
Johnson getting away from the D. Hall now looking at his options. Good spin along the baseline. Boy, he is getting to the line repeatedly tonight.
And send the double team. You got to send extra help.
54-52. Where has Bryce Thompson been tonight?
First 28 minutes has been a little bit of a no-show, but right here, gets to a good spot, ball fake, fundamental finish. Texas Tech in the conference opener that had really propelled this Knights team to be a group that was on the last four in, and from that point on, a win on January 25th at home against TCU led to a 7-game losing streak, which was not snapped until late February. Really the difference in the Knights season, to put it plainly. The defense started to fail them. Offensively, they continued to find success in spurts, but that 7-game losing streak where the defense just could not hold up.
And the loss of that guy right there, Jalen Sellers, absolutely huge to UCF down the stretch.
And his perimeter defense, as much as he is a talented scorer, was one of the best scorers in the Big 12 last year, they wouldn't have really liked to have had his perimeter defense to defend the likes of a Curtis Jones at Iowa State, a L.J. Cryer at Houston, right? Caleb Love at Arizona. They needed him to be that great on-ball defender.
Johnson tried to take it himself, and they're going to give him the goaltend. Say it was on the cylinder. It's flying through that time. You saw Brandon Newman. And I think also, BJ, you look at some of those losses, especially.
It's right there. That looked like a clean block to me from Thompson.
UCF right in the game against Kansas, right down to the wire. Look at how the Knights played on that day. Probably won. If they had, you never know how the season could have gone, but these games usually come down to 2 or 3 plays.
100%. Yep, and that's how sensitive for bubble teams, right, things can go. A win or a loss here against a major team can completely change the morale of a group.
Coleman. Oh, what a move! It goes in and one. That ball stayed on the rim, it seemed like, for ages.
What a finish by Debo Coleman as he goes up, under, twist, takes the bump, and is able to convert the lay. Take a look at this. What a finish.
So Debo Coleman, honored on senior night before the game. It's great to see him have his moment here on the court as UCF now leads.
One of the largest contingents of family and friends we've seen on the senior night. He had about 10 plus out there on the floor with him. special again for Debo Coleman, a guy that's spent time at Georgia Tech and Atlanta, now finishing up his career at UCF. A highlight senior day moment, to say the least.
3 points right there, converted. Knights now into the press. Both teams have shared the lead for about the exact amount of time here in this game. And I got to tell you, BJ.
Beautiful contingent of family, accompanied by his sister as well. Almost like twins.
Chichi Avery. Loose ball. Johnson tries to save and does. Keyshawn Hall. Oh, he missed. Bryce Thompson fouled from behind.
You know, when you scored as many points this season as Keyshawn Hall has, the coaching staff, the fans, can't even be mad at him, right? When Darius Johnson goes over to the sideline, doesn't even see where he's throwing the ball, but great find, and then the rim has been more than friendly to Keyshawn Hall this season. Great save from Johnson.
Oh.
At some point, you knew the rim had to be a little mean to him and reject him, right?
So Mahosky can make everybody forget about that missed dunk right here. Keyshawn can maybe have a little fun with it as well.
Sometimes try to dunk it so hard. I'm talking like I know.
Well, I mentioned, remember UCF went trailing at the half, just 1-10 on the year. Right now they lead by 6, and they were down by 5 at halftime. So outscoring Oklahoma State right now by 11 in this frame.
Poor reach right there from Debo Coleman. Again, 45 feet from the rim. Just want to play clean basketball, but again, this game has gone back and forth, and this is a conversation of, you know, I cocked it back behind the head, put it on my ear, and as I went up, it just slipped, you know? It just slipped out of my hand, bro.
12-2 Knights run. And this is the largest lead here for UCF, 6 points. Tough take. Jump stop in the lane. Oh, just off. John was hit as he went down, and he may have run into Hall that time. Hendricks will pull it out. UCF can get a bucket here. This crowd will explode.
Gotta keep your hands off if you're Arturo Dean.
Johnson says, it's mine.
He's too strong, he's too fast, he's too physical when he puts his head down going to the rim.
On senior night, you got the green light. Johnson has that right here, right now, and he's taking advantage of it. So right now, 22 points for Darius Johnson.
Yeah, I like Arturo Dean early on, right? He's in good position, gets the hands off, right? Slides the feet, and then that's really on the help side. The help side's got to be in that gap right here. See, the help side, got to close that gap for me. If not, a player like Darius Johnson who's feeling good, you see the confidence on his face. It's going to be tough to deal with when he starts getting downhill.
7 of 12 tonight. He's played solid. Had a Darius Johnson workman-like performance.
Yep.
Another day at the office.
Again, Darius Johnson and Keyshawn Hall have combined now for 36 of the 62 Knights points. Both of them seem to have the ball here in the second half. If it's not Johnson, it's Hall making a play. And now, if you're Oklahoma State on the offensive end, with Bryce Thompson on the bench, where do you go for a good look?
Career high for Darius Johnson, 28 points. We'll keep an eye on that. That 28 points at home is his high. Just want to make that correction. And how about that ring around the rosy by Arturo Dean?
And nice patience by Dean. He can get to that painted area off those ball screens whenever he wants. Just get into that ball screen each and every time down the floor and allow Arturo Dean to make a play.
Taken away, Brandon Newman. Cowboys now sensing a run of their own. Long three, Avery, just off. To the corner again, it's Sellers. That's Hendricks, rather, with the shot. Darius Johnson comes back. Johnson is on fire right now. He's got 25. Good reverse. It's off, though. Arturo Dean couldn't finish.
Gotta pick this ball early up if you're Oklahoma State.
Johnson trying to add another. Heat check time.
That was a little too risky right there. Oklahoma State playing with fire. Stopped that basketball earlier because Darius Johnson was on a heater.
Oklahoma State right now in danger. They've got to really be careful with it. Chum going to get called for the bump. 2 points lighter than they were before we went to break. What happened, BJ?
Yeah, well, they just removed the basket from Darius Johnson. There was a goaltend call right there on Brandon Newman. As you see right here, clearly a clean block from Newman. Points taken off the board. Good call from this officiating
After review, the goaltending at 11-21 against Oklahoma State was a successful block shot. The play has been overruled. 2 points removed.
So our officials tonight, Kip Kissinger, Don Daly, James Greening. I got to say, I don't like the call. Just in general, the fact you can go back so much later. You know, in football,
correct.
Once the ball's snapped on the next play, you cannot go back and replay. Saying basketball, different story. They can do that, but as someone who has played the game as long as you have, is that something you think needs to be looked at in the future?
Well, I think the officiating committee of the NCAA is going to look at a few things this offseason as Newman just off the back rim. They're going to look at a couple things, right? The under 2-minute reviews that are just available at any time, I think that's going to go away, right? And I think you're going to look at a more NBA style where each coach gets a challenge. If they get the call right when they challenge, they'll keep their challenge. If they get it wrong, they'll lose their challenge because we have far too many reviews in the last 2 minutes of games. It's like everything that happens has to get reviewed, and that just slows down and really takes away from the viewer experience and the fans, takes a lot of air out of the game.
Yeah, great point. So under 8 to play here. 7-point game, still anybody's ball game here. Oklahoma State has had their moments here tonight. Darius Johnson, though, the hot shooter right now on his senior night.
Darius Johnson says, if you're going to take my points off the board, I'll just get them back. What a night.
Bubbles on the deck. Keyshawn Hall comes up with it. Hall gets it back, threw it away. Brandon Newman now gets it ahead. This one is swatted. Bryce Thompson's had a tough night. Hendricks. So the lead is 10, largest here for UCF. Keyshawn Hall going to go 1v1. Can Hendricks hit this time? Yes! Keep shooting until they go in, right?
That's Tyler Hendricks playing well as of late. Extends this lead to 13 points for the Knights.
So Hendricks 1 of 7 from the floor. That was a big one, though. Trying to respond, it's Dow. Connor Dow rolls around, doesn't go in.
Now Oklahoma State, just one of its last 10 from the field here, going on nearly 3 minutes without scoring. There's a lid on that basket for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
This is a 17-2 run for the home team. Hendricks. Here's Hall. 5 to shoot. Nasty crossover. Comes out.
And that would have been the nail in the coffin right there. If Keyshawn Hall is able to get that step back to go, the lid blows off this building and Oklahoma State's in a real jam.
Thompson, there's another.
And that is an answer that they needed, okay? You get that miss from Keyshawn Hall, and now you look to get a stop here, you look to get a score, get this thing back to single figures under 5 minutes.
Oh, lots of arm action going on right now. These guys battling. And it was Brantley really giving Hall a hard time.
And right here, a nice action, a little two-man game between your best scorers. Makes it really, really hard for the defense. Do we switch? Do we stay? What do we do? Especially when Keyshawn Hall is the primary ball handler. And you had to know when Johnson let it go with the night he's having, he would knock it down.
So 26 points, mentioned his high here at home, 28. He is threatening that big time right now.
And it hasn't been forced, right? Every
Yeah.
shot that he's taking, every attempt that he's found, the 5 of 9 from the three-point line, over 50% from the field, every look has been a look that he is capable of taking and making. I have not seen him take a bad shot all day long, all night long, excuse me.
So that 28 also a season high here for Darius Johnson. What a night for him. Final home game. Last time he'll ever play in this arena as a UCF Knight. Up it's Usman. He's going to draw the foul on Cham.
And that's the right call, all right? It's the right call, plain and simple. Got James Breeding here underneath. Experienced official. Watch that arm come down right there from Mustafa Cham. Get the left arm of Abu Usman. If you're Cham in that situation, as good of a shot blocker as you are, at times, just got to go vertical and force Abu Usman to go up over the top and finish.
So Cham has got to come out. Betty Williams will come in. Mustafa not happy.
That's his 4th foul in the game, right? And now, what does this do for Oklahoma State? It should be a freeway, expressway, motor highway to the rim, all right? They don't have the best shot blocker in the Big 12 in the game. UCF is depleted in its front court in terms of center depth. I'm sure Steve Lutz is going to tell his group, drive the ball, drive the ball, drive the ball.
Knights get it across the timeline here. Lead by 11. Johnson going to be the orchestrator. He'll fire again. Oh, what a night. 31 points and a smile from the senior. Right back at you, but he comes down a little awkwardly. Khalil Brantley let that one go. And may have tweaked that ankle on the way down.
It just landed a little funny. But it's been the Darius Johnson show. Myron Kelly just not ready for the triple from Melbourne, Florida. Look at where he released this basketball from. And again, there was no doubt that that orange ball would find bottoms. And a senior smile. What else would you expect?
74. Member for Darius Johnson. Right now he is filling it up on his senior night, shooting the three, getting to the goal. This game is in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, right now Johnson getting whatever he wants out there on the floor. You look at some of these shots that he's getting. He's on balance, he's under control, he's in his bag, as they would say. And then right here, that's just the confidence and the swagger that he can play with when he really gets it going. But an absolutely memorable night for him. 22 points in the second half. None deeper and none more fun than that last one from Darius Johnson. What a game for him.
So right now he's just 2 off his career high of 33 points. He did that last year, exactly 1 year ago against TCU. So a chance to eclipse that. Main thing though, you want to get your team the win. Up 12. This game not in the bag just yet.
And that's the most impressive thing about the 22 we've seen in the second half from Johnson is he really started to take over when this game was still in the balance, right? It wasn't UCF had control. At one point here, UCF was down, 7-8 points in the second half, and that's when he started to get it going. his dad there, Kelvin Johnson, the director of player development, special assistant as well to Johnny Dawkins, a longtime friend of Johnny Dawkins since they were in 4th grade. Johnny Dawkins was at Darius Johnson's birth. He's known him since he was a kid, so this is a full circle moment for both of those guys on the staff.
How cool is that? So Keyshawn Hall, he's been just a little bit quiet lately. He's got 14 points. Johnson, he'll fire again. Another high arcer. That rim right now is like a swimming pool.
He can't miss. Woo!
34 points, officially a career high.
You know, there's Hot Drew, and then there's Caliente Pepper. And Darius Johnson right now is Caliente Red Hot Pepper. Again, clock's running down, and Brandon Newman decides to chop the feet, doesn't get out there. And Darius Johnson with that high arcing shot is like, look, man, I'm not sure if he knew he had this in him, but I tell you what, he's happy he found out he's got it.
Yeah, father's getting emotional with each bucket, watching his son play his final game here as a UCF Knight, and this is incredible stuff.
It is. It's storybook, right? You know, having a senior night like this.
Hear the fans saying, DJ, DJ, DJ. They want him to shoot it again. Chum comes over, and we're going to get a foul here. Johnson's going to get whistled. J.J. Taylor.
UCF foul, 3, Darius Johnson.
Another Arturo Dean there taking it up.
19 foul.
7 for 11 from three-point land, and that his 200th three-pointer. All kinds of milestones in this game.
Great to have had all of these accomplishments and milestones at one university, right? That means a lot. You can tell how much the fan base cares about him, and if they're supporting him today, and how proud they are of the game he's having, and really a culmination to his career here, a great culmination to his career here in Addition Financial Arena.
Couple there for Arturo Dean. Again, Father Kelvin looking up at the clock. That 3:30 can't eclipse soon enough, but of course it's one of those games you want to get the win, but you certainly don't want it to end either the way DJ's playing.
Yeah, and if you're Oklahoma State right now, I would deny him the basketball, right? Deny Johnson the basketball. One of the other 4 players on the court have got to make a play at this point.
Will that be Keyshawn Hall? Once again, going to the rim. Just been a little off tonight for Keyshawn, but he is getting fouled. You can sense, though, he just hasn't really settled in offensively.
I agree to an extent, right? Only 4 of 12 from the field, 33%, which is not his usual efficiency, but you know you're an elite scorer when you have, 14 points in a game, still mid-double figures, and we're saying things like he just hadn't been able to get it going. That's how good of a scorer he's been, averaging up over 20 points per game. When he doesn't eclipse that number, he's a victim of the standard he's set for himself throughout the season.
So Keyshawn Hall, again, 34 points the last time these two teams played, and right now, ironically, Darius Johnson stuck on the number 34. Johnny Dawkins, his team leads by 13. 3 minutes to go. Oklahoma State, they host Cincinnati on Saturday. So they'll head back home to Stillwater. Still want to finish strong here. Usman stepping out, can't hit. And now the Knights will slow things down.
And if you don't send a trap at Darius Johnson, you might just have to concede the fact that he's gonna go and get a bucket.
Here the student section chanting, DJ, DJ.
And that's why you send a trap.
Oh, they're going to give it to the Cowboys. This one may be overturned. Don Daly made that call. James Breeding overturns it.
It's always great when the officiating crew can come together and just say, hey, that's not the right call. Let's just change it, all right? They don't have to go to the monitor. They don't have to take a second, third look.
Oh, Johnson hit in the face that time. And a foul will be called here. Arturo Dean doesn't like the call. Neither does the student section.
And you see as Darius Johnson just comes across half court, as Arturo Dean catch him up in the eye. Looks like contact may have came out as well. I know you wear contacts.
I do.
Contact may have came out.
That contact comes out, it is an emergency.
Yeah, but you know, I don't think your contacts help you shoot as well as Darius Johnson's contacts help him shoot.
This contact, a little more important.
And watch the poke from the right arm of Arturo Dean.
So clear poke in the eye. Officials take one more look. I don't think that is going to be an intentional foul, but certainly worth a look.
Yeah, it was like almost the back of the hand, right? Looked like caught Darius Johnson in the face.
After review, the foul is a common foul on 2 black. 2 shots.
There's the contact put right back in. Always need a mirror to do that. Not sure how they do it just like that. I have a mirror here courtside.
You know, when you wear as many contacts as he has, right, and you played as many games as he has,
sure.
I'm sure the contact has come out in the game before, all right? And again, you're comparing, Drew, your hand-eye coordination to an elite Division I athlete like Darius Johnson's hand-eye coordination, all right?
Yeah.
You know, you're my favorite person in the building, but I just want to keep you, you know, on track here. He might have a little steadier hand.
Keep me in my lane. I get it. Johnson, first one goes down. And 35 points now. He is by far, he is 20, nearly 20. Let's see, 19 points ahead of the second leading scorer, Keyshawn Hall. So 36 now for the senior. And what an emotional night here with coming up on 2 minutes to go. 9 for 9, Darius is from the line. Arturo Dean with a finish.
Nice job of Dean, not spending too much time on the perimeter. Immediately gets downhill, plays through the contact. For Oklahoma State, you have to throw on a full court trap here. Johnny Dawkins going to implore his guys to make sure that they take care of the basketball.
Just in case you're wondering too, that's the 36th foul committed in this game. We have had a lot of whistles here tonight. Mahosky cross court. Keyshawn Hall now holding it. Let's see if the Cowboys try and foul here.
No, you got to throw on a trap and look to get a steal. You know, the foul game down 13 just, it still to this day kind of blows my mind. Under 2 minutes, you're down 13, man. I never believe in throwing in the white flag, but fouling doesn't really help you.
Mahosky left it short. Cowboys get it back. Avery leaves it for Usman.
And there you go. You got to get a stop or a turnover, then push the other way. You got to look to force another turnover. Got thrown heat.
Mahosky. And finally a foul. So Brandon Newman commits the personal.
And this Knights team is one of the better free throw shooting teams in the Big 12, nearly 80% per game. There's Johnson's good free throw shooter, Keyshawn Hall a good free throw shooter. Mustafa Chum, even at his height, an over 70% free throw shooter. So not a lot of poor free throw shooters on the floor for UCF, which is why you highlight the fact that Oklahoma State needs to force a turnover, throw on some traps, because sending quality free throw shooters to the line for the sake of extending the game does not accomplish the goal.
Here's a fun stat too. 18 of 20 from the free throw line for Hall and Johnson combined.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you have a better chance of, even if a little more time comes off the clock, you got to do everything you can to get a steal. And even if a foul comes, you get a foul going for a loose ball, you get a foul reaching, it happens. But don't just foul intentionally down double digits, down double figures, excuse me.
So UCF 78% as a team from the free throw line has helped them out huge tonight.
Gotta get one off quick, it's good.
Jamyron Keller One was on point, just doesn't go down. And UCF will pretty much try and wrap a bow on this one. Keyshawn Hall, 1 minute to play. Standing ovation, this crowd, even though this basketball season has not gone like they would have wanted, they appreciate the effort of this team.
One more just feels appropriate for the night he's had.
Hall. And ball dribbled off. It'll stay with Oklahoma State here. Not many bad shots tonight for Darius Johnson.
Yep.
That may have been the only one.
You know, poor result, but you can't tell me when he let it go you didn't think there was a chance.
Usman steps out. Way off. Crowd will let him know. It's funny how things changed. Last time these teams met, Oklahoma State scored 104 at their place. Right now stuck on 70. And here is Darius Johnson coming out for the final time. That right there says it all. Jalen Sellers, a final high five, and that will do it. From Edition Financial Arena, that's what senior night is all about. For Darius Johnson, could not have gone better. Also, Debo Coleman and Benny Williams honored.